Ukraine and Russia both agreeing to limited ceasefires this week on energy infrastructure and the Black Sea, only for both sides to quickly accuse the other of violating the agreements. Now, overnight, Russia launching a deadly drone attack in southeast Ukraine. Russia's drone suspected of coming from Iran, something President Trump was asked about yesterday.
They make a lot of drones. Iran makes a lot of drones. They make very effective drones, too. They do very effectively at some things. But Iran is very high on my list of things to watch. And as you probably know, I sent them a letter just recently. And I said, you're going to have to make a decision one way or the other. And we're going to either have to talk and talk it out, or very bad things are going to happen to Iran. And I don't want that to happen.
Joining us now, former Obama campaign foreign policy advisor and former State Department official, David Tafuri. David, it is great to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So what role is Iran playing here? And in your view, is the U.S. doing enough in response?
Well, what you saw there is President Trump tying Iran to Russia. And the main tie is that Iran is providing some of the weapons that Russia is using on the battlefield, notably the Shahid drone, which has been very effective. It's also called a suicide drone. Iran is making a lot of these, and because Russia was suffering militarily, it had to get weapons from its partner and friend, Iran. So if you're Ukraine, this is a good thing that President Trump is making this association, because we know the Trump administration wants to take a very hard stance against Iran. And it's going to be hard for them to do that if they aren't also taking a hard stance against Iran's closest ally, which is Russia, and which Russia is now dependent upon Iran. So Russia wants Iran to be successful.
Yeah. What do you believe the action from the administration may be moving forward? We'd heard those threatening words from the president. Will there be action behind it?
Well, the most important thing and most important question is President Trump going to continue to provide weapons to Ukraine? Ukraine desperately needs for the weapons flow to continue from the United States and from Europe. You know, after the Oval Office meeting, which didn't go well, and you're showing some video of it there, President Trump, for a short time, paused the flow of weapons, and he also paused the provision of intelligence information, which is very important for Ukraine to monitor Russian troops and for doing targeting. That has now been reinstated, both the weapons and the intelligence sharing. So for Ukraine, they want that to continue. Ukraine has said they want a ceasefire. President Zelensky agreed to a 30-day ceasefire. Putin rejected that. They then kind of took a step down and just did a ceasefire around attacking each other's energy infrastructure and attacking ships on the Black Sea. Reportedly, Russia has already violated the ceasefire with respect to attacking energy installations in Ukraine, and President Zelensky has said that Moscow attacked their energy infrastructure yesterday and the day before. So Putin is not even following the very minor sort of limited ceasefire that he agreed to.
What do you make also of Russian President Vladimir Putin reiterating these claims that he thinks Ukraine should be put under UN protection to reach a peace deal? How are you reading this play by Putin?
You know, this is the ultimate irony. President Putin has not had a free and fair election in Russia for 20 plus years. And Russia is a police state. Nobody can express their political views. And each of the people who ran against Putin and had a chance of beating him have been assassinated, like Navalny. And so for Putin to be saying that Ukraine is not a democracy, or that President Zelensky is no longer a legitimate leader because he hasn't had elections, is absolutely ridiculous. There's a very good reason why President Zelensky has not had elections on time. It's because they are at war. And Russia is occupying a significant amount of territory inside Ukraine. And the people in that territory have a right to vote for president. So there's no possible way that Ukraine could have an election across the country with Russian troops in some of the areas where voting would need to take place. Moreover, Putin is famous for interfering in elections around the world, and he would use the opportunity of Ukraine having an election to interfere in Ukraine, to do a massive disinformation campaign and try to break the unity of Ukraine. So that's why Zelensky has not had an election, and those are really good reasons.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.